Hi guys, can you hear me? I'm just trying to set this up so that we have a very clear vision. Give me a moment. Okay, this looks better. Perfect. Right. Hi, so I'm Kuber. Nice to see you guys. Thank you for joining in. Can you hear me? Just let me check if you can hear me. Okay. I'm just trying to set this up so I can hear you at the same time. Perfect. Okay, all right. Excellent. Audio is perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So today's draw, it must have given a lot of you guys a bit of a shocker. Actually, I mean, it was anticipated, wasn't it? I mean, 4 weeks gap, the last draw at 450, and then the very high number of people in the pool. Let me just pull this up. Right. So it says on the 24th of May, which is about 6 days earlier, the total pool strength is 109,011 candidates. That is a phenomenal number. It's a huge number. And I've been saying this, right, that these number of people in the pool is always going to be a worry, because obviously, the more the number of people in the pool, higher the scores. And that is depending on what range. So, but let's break it down. So it says the CRS score range between 601 and 1,200. So these are typically the provincial nominee applicants, people who have received their nominations. 729. Wow. So in the last 1 month, 729 people have received their nominations. It's pretty good. Between 451 to 600, 4,624 people. Excellent. I mean, you guys are managing to create some great scores out there. And then 441 to 450, we have a total of 5,872. Phenomenal numbers, guys. I mean, when I'm looking at these numbers, it's giving me jitters. Why is it giving me jitters? Well, let me just quickly run this calculation here. 5872 plus 4624, wow, plus 729, 11,225 candidates in the pool with scores of more than 441. I mean, even if we had 3 draws today, or even if there was 3 consecutive draws, even then the scores are not going to come down below 441 with that kind of pool strength. What's it looking like? 470. I'm not sure how many of you read my blog post that I posted on Facebook a few days back, but I sort of gave a bit of a background on this, right? So the last time this scores went this crazy was in 2017. The lowest score ever that hit the express entry was 413, and that happened on the 31st of May. And then on the 6th of June, CIC brought about the changes that had been published earlier, which was the sibling points, for 15 points for sibling and additional points for French speakers. So those changes were made in the express entry pool. The express entry was updated. The system was updated to accommodate for those changes. And then, because the system was a bit erratic, or whatever was the reason, and obviously there were some other changes that CIC did in their express entry system on the back end as well. So there was a gap. There was a gap of nearly 4 weeks, and the next draw which came out was on the 29th or 28th of June. And obviously with a long gap, the scores shot up crazy to 449. I mean, that was, at that time, that was a crazy high score. And the reason for that was when the scores hit 413, the whole world went gaga. Everybody thought, okay, this was like a quick ticket to come to Canada on a PR. Agents and consultants everywhere across out there were already speculating the scores to hit 400 and even below 400. But when nobody thought this was going to happen, and when there was this 4 week gap, scores shot up to 449. and we never actually saw the scores drop from there on. I mean, it dropped, yes, to 433, but they really didn't come down ever to the scores below 433 from there on. And they have been quite high from there on. And one of the reasons is because when things like 413 happen, and when people start showing everybody those beautiful dreams, it obviously became apparent and obvious that Canada was quite welcoming, and the express entry system was now more established. People understood it better. They knew it was quite simple, quite easy to get across, and more and more people came into the pool. So in the month of May, to give you a perspective, the pool strength was roughly 40,000 something, so 42, 44,000. That was the variable factor. So at any given point of time, you would have 42 to 45,000 people in the express entry pool. And so they were doing these high number of draws, 3,800, 3,900. Those were the number of ITAs being issued per draw. So 413 was hit because there was a back-to-back draw also. There was a draw before 31st of May, which was in the earlier week. So there was quite a few draws that happened in 31st of May, including the Federal Skilled Trade program draw, and scores reached to 413. Then obviously 4-week gap, and then it ran up to 449. And coming to now, fast forward. Let's talk about 2019. This is all in history now. What is 2019 showing us? Well, 2019 is showing us that 2018 was pretty harsh on the scores as well. There was only 2 draws which basically gave some respite, and that was in December for 439 and in January for 438. But you have to again keep your eyes on the ball and see how did 439 and 438 happen. They only happened because there was a back-to-back draw. If CIC continues with their 2-week period cycle, which is basically they will do 2 draws in a month, or 2 draws in 4 weeks kind of a thing, or 1 draw after every 2 weeks for Federal Skilled Worker Program or CAC program, then the pool strength, because of the pool strength, the number of people continue to rise. The draw scores are not expected to come down a lot. So 2018 saw that. Scores always hovered between 440 and 445. So it was always jumping between that. Obviously, there were a few draws for higher scores when there was a 3-week gap. And obviously, it came down to 439 in December. And then 438, of course, in January. And again, everybody was quite pumped up. But a lot of people were ignoring the number of people who are jumping into the pool. You see, with 109,000 people in the pool today, with 11,000 people over 441, even with today's draw happening, this 11,225 will be reduced by let's say 3350 gives me. So you still have 7,875 people in the pool above 441. You have what's it looking like? Approximately 2,000 people above 451. And not to mention, this pool strength is as of May 24th. If this pool strength is of May 24th, which basically means in the last few days, which is last 5 days, additional people have come in, more people have come in. And we've usually seen the week before the draws, a lot of people jump into the pool. Either they were waiting to sort of get their express entry scores, that they were waiting to get their IELTS scores, they were waiting to get their scores re-evaluated from IELTS, so they were waiting for that. They were waiting for their ECA results. They were waiting for their siblings to have arrived in Canada and established themselves, so they were waiting to claim those points, or they were waiting to complete their work experience. We all know, right? 1 to 2 years gives you the same points. The 3rd year of work experience gives you additional points. So they were waiting to complete the 3-year period. A lot of applicants who apply under CEC, which is Canadian Experience Class, who are in Canada, they are waiting to complete their programs. They're waiting to complete their 1 year of work period to apply into this program. So a lot of these people jump into the pool towards the end of, before the draw happens, and you will see a significant increase in the pool strength or for the ranges above 441, 451. So, I mean, after giving you all these figures and all these numbers at you, what is it looking like? I'm sure most of you have logged in just to understand what is it looking like. Give me a second. Are we expecting the scores to drop? That's what most of you are here to ask or to check. I am not expecting the scores to drop to the previous lows. I don't expect the scores to go anywhere near 438s, 439s, 436s. So 430s is not looking like happening, at least not in the near future, at least not as far as I can see how this is going. Simply because pool strength, 109,000 people, large number. Number of people above 441 today is, as I said, I keep repeating this, approximately 11,000. Okay, even if you remove the people who have got their ITAs in today's draw, 3,350, that will still give you 7,875. And this is of May 24th. So obviously there were people who have joined the pool after that. 7,875 people as of May 24th, or rather as of today, after people who have got their ITAs. That's a big number. So even if you have got another 2 draws and nobody else comes into the pool, the scores are still not going to come below 440 for sure. And we all know that there are a lot of people who jump into the pool every day now. We also need to keep in mind that a lot of people who get their ITAs, they will decline their ITA. Okay, they will decline their ITA for n number of reasons. Some of them have mentioned incorrect details on their express entry profile, so they will decline their ITA once they realize what they've done. Some have created their express entry profile just for fun. When I'm saying fun, these are the guys who have created the profile just to play around with the system to see what kind of scores they can get with different kind of permutations and combinations. Not a large number of them out there, but at least I am aware of some profiles which are absolutely there just to simulate the scores, and people then forget to remove these profiles, so they're obviously taking up those very, very important, valuable spots. So those guys obviously will either delete their profiles or will again decline, or those spots will get released. Then there are those people who will not be able to collect their documents in time. Okay, whether their employers will not give them their reference letters, or they will not be able to get the required reference letters in time, they will not be able to get their PCCs in time, they will not be able to get any other relevant documents that they feel in time, and then they will obviously want to decline their ITA. So all these will come back into the pool. I don't have the exact percentage of such numbers, but based on the last trends that has been seen and the data which is available on open data, which is on the CIC websites and on Canada.ca website, the general trend of people who refuse, or rather people who decline their ITAs, people whose applications get rejected on R10, Immigration Refugee Protection Regulation Section R10, people whose applications are refused, these people form roughly 32 to 36% of the total ITAs issued. So all these guys will obviously come back into the express entry pool at some point of time. So, and if they already have received the ITA, which basically means their scores are pretty high, then all these guys are going to come back into the pool, which basically means that these numbers are going to stay high. The reason I'm throwing all these numbers at you so that you understand that where I'm coming from, why am I saying what I'm saying. I'm not trying to paint a doomsday picture here. I'm not trying to sort of give you that grim effect of this. But it is what it is, right? How many countries do you think, or can you name, that has such a simple, straightforward, and a transparent system? How many countries can you name which are open for permanent residency, just the way Canada has? On one hand, I can name only 3 or 4, to be very honest. And out of those 3 or 4, and I'm talking about Canada, Australia, New Zealand, a couple of countries in the European continent, that's it. These are your only options. We all know how difficult Australia has become with their selection criteria. They, as it is, have very small quota of number of people that they bring in, and then their priority. New Zealand is not everybody's choice and not everybody's cup of tea. What does that leave you with? That leaves you only with Canada. Obviously, we are not going to talk about the United States because, for obvious reasons. So, if Canada is almost the only option, or rather, it takes 70 to 80% of the entire pie when it comes to the options available. Whoever is out there who's looking for an opportunity, then Canada is their first and foremost priority. Okay, and with that said, these figures are going to be always looking quite shocking and high. In the short term, let's not talk about what happens from here on. 470. I mean, as I said, there's a 4-week gap. The last score was 450. I'm sorry, and we were seeing the large number of people who were joining the pool every single day. After 2 weeks, the score, I mean, even if the draw hadn't happened today, but it had happened 2 weeks back, which was, what would have been, 15th, or was it 15th of May? Yeah, the last score for federal skilled trade workers. Okay, so even if it was 2 weeks back, the score wouldn't have been any lower than 449, maybe 448, best case scenario, but I was expecting anywhere between 449 and 450 had the draw happened on the 15th of May. With another 2 weeks into the play, now the scores are obviously at 470. So now what happens from here on? Let me just pull up a screen that I use for my simulations. Right, so from what I can see, and if this is the number of people that keep jumping into the pool, from 470 for it to come down back to 450, it's going to take a couple of draws. Okay, that's obvious. Now, if it comes back to 450, which I mean, I at least assume and absolutely feel that there is a good reason for it to come down to 450. From there on, if we keep getting these kind of numbers of people who keep adding themselves into the pool with such high scores, 445 is looking difficult to breach. I'll be very happy to see 450 getting breached. I would be very happy to see the scores coming down into 440s again. But anything lower than 445 is looking, the way I am looking at figures, not happening for the time being, at least. 446, 447, 448. Fingers crossed. Back-to-back draws will probably, make you one of those 438s, 439s again. But unless the back-to-back draw happen, even 446, 447 is looking a bit difficult as of right now. But we'll have to keep our eyes open and see the next few draws, see the next few trends. As of 24th of May, as I told you, there were more than 5,000 people above 451. And then the 5 days here, and then the figures are added, and every day more people keep joining in. So even to reach back to 450, 451 kind of scores, unless CIC does some magical draws, which again, fingers are crossed, you never know what they're up to, you never know what they will do. So until they do some magical draws, as in they do another draw tomorrow, or they do another draw next week, or they, you never know, anything can happen, and I'm always forever hopeful. So unless those kind of draws happen, even to reach 451 again, or 450, it's going to take a bit of some time, if they continue with their bi-weekly draws. So what should you do? Well, there is no magical formula to this from here on. There is no magical wand that you can sort of just wave and something will happen for you. Canada does have 60, or approximately 60, give or take few, immigration programs. Okay, obviously most of these are the PNP programs that you can look at. Obviously, everybody will not qualify on all the programs. But there are always some programs you can keep your eyes on. There are some programs, I know of a few people who have just contacted me in the last week. They had received Alberta NOIs. They were in the 440s, and they just chose not to proceed with them. If you will just go to my Alberta video, it's on the same group, or sorry, same channel. I very clearly said that if you're in 440s, take the Alberta NOI or take the Alberta PNP nomination option if you get it, because Alberta is pretty fast in the nomination process and they don't charge you anything. It's free. So it makes for a very very easy pathway into getting your PR application, because once you get the PNP, as you know, once you get the nomination, 600 points get added into your express entry score, and so you become untouchable as far as your ITA is concerned. So if you have Alberta NOI, notification of interest, or letter of intent or letter of interest from Alberta, please take it. Okay, don't wait, don't think about it, don't sort of fall into the trap of maybe it will drop, maybe I will wait, maybe it will drop. By the time the scores drop, you would have probably got your nomination. And if you get your nomination, at least you're not watching for the next, you're not looking for the next draw, you're not thinking what's going to happen now, what will happen later. So please, if you have Alberta notification of interest, just go for it, don't even think about it. Okay, other options. Now Ontario, I know a lot of you have been waiting for Ontario. Again, a lot of chatter, we've been hearing a lot of things. You see, Ontario is in the middle of introducing new programs. So they are going to launch the Northern and Rural Communities program. They are going to sort of change a lot in their entrepreneur program. They are in the middle of agreeing to which communities they want to introduce in terms of their program. So until they have decided, I don't think they want to move ahead till they have figured out which communities they're going to bring on board. The deadline for this to have happened is 31st May, which is only 2 days from now. So maybe in the month of June we can expect some movement from Ontario. I know a lot of you are waiting for human capital priorities draws to happen, but guys, look at it again. Ontario has been very very smart when they pick up their range for the draw. So if, for example, if they were to do a human capital priorities draw today, what do you think the range would be? They're not going to do anything under 430, 440. The scores are at 470, and they've always played in tandem with the Federal Skilled Worker Program draws. So I would not keep my hopes pinned only on Ontario or for their draws of 470, of their HCP draws to come down. So yes, it's good to expect that Ontario will send out notifications at some point of time, because last year they accepted roughly 2,200, if I'm not wrong. I don't have the figures with me right now, but they accepted 2,200 people under Ontario nominations, under HCP, which is Human Capital Priorities nominations. This year they have already suspended their employment stream, people who have the job offers in Ontario stream for the time being. I do not know how long that will be on hold. They've already accepted their 1,000 applications for masters and graduates stream. They will continue to hold their draws, or they continue to conduct their draws for French speaker stream. The only remaining would be then the HCP. So yeah, anytime now we should be able to expect, once I think May has passed, we should expect Ontario to come back with their draws. Now, what does that leave us with? Saskatchewan is one. Now Saskatchewan brought in some changes to their NOC in demand, which was great. And they were able to sort of do they were able to conduct some specific draws for certain NOCs, which was also great. But when they did their generic draw for all the NOCs in demand, the last score I think was 81 or 82. Now that's very, very high, because it's very, very high. So basically you can only score 81, 82 in Saskatchewan is when you have any connection to Saskatchewan. So you have relatives in Saskatchewan, you have previously worked in Saskatchewan, you have previous studies or something, so you can get additional adaptability points from Saskatchewan. That's the only time you can get such a high score. And so that 82 score or 81, I don't remember, it was 81 or 82. So that kind of a score was not very encouraging either from Saskatchewan. Again, fingers crossed that they will probably bring it down. I know a lot of you who have applied in Saskatchewan, or rather who have created their expression of interest for Saskatchewan under the NOCs of 2174 and 1311. So I know more and more will keep adding in, more and more people will keep jumping, because now with express entry and federal skilled worker program draws looking so scary, I'm sure people are going to get diverted to other provinces and look at these options. So yes, Saskatchewan continues to be another option. If and when you are eligible, please do apply. I did make a video on Saskatchewan as well, so if you're still confused how that happens, please take a look at that one. What else have we got? Prince Edward Islands. Now, Prince Edward Islands, you need to keep in mind that it's a very small province. Okay, it's and it obviously has a very small quota. Roughly, I think 1,000 or something. Now, with that kind of a quota, compared to Ontario, which has 6,600, compared to Saskatchewan, which has roughly 4,000 or 5,000. Manitoba has roughly 5,000. Alberta has roughly 5,000. So with Prince Edward roughly holding only 1,000, it's not a very big number. So what they do is they do conduct an occasional draw. Everybody is welcome to create their express entry profile. I know of some people who have received a very surprised expression of interest from letter of intent from Prince Edward Islands. So please don't discount it entirely, don't discount it completely. Do create your profile on Prince Edward Island as well. You never know when and who they might pick up. The problem is they do not have any specific or specified criteria as to who they will pick up. So you're always in the dark. You don't really know, do you have a good chance with them, or you don't have a good chance. So it sort of leaves you in a bit of a limbo there. But it's like, and I keep giving this reference, right? You need to win a lottery, but in order to win a lottery, you need to buy a ticket. But buying a ticket does not mean that you will win a lottery. But hey, if you haven't got a ticket, then you don't have a chance at all. So it's the same thing. It's just like buying a lottery ticket and then hoping and praying that it sort of goes through. So please create your expression of interest with Prince Edward Islands as well. And then what it leaves us with is Manitoba. Manitoba is pretty good. But as we all know, Manitoba needs a connection to the province, and unless that connection is a good one, so you could have a friend in Manitoba, and that's perfectly fine. That makes you eligible to apply. But the points that you get from a friend in Manitoba are not enough to get you the letter of advice to apply, which is called LA. So the chances of that happening are pretty low, because the scores with Manitoba also are quite high. So unless that connection that you have with Manitoba gets you enough points, for example, a close relative, even Manitoba is not the best option. But you never know, you could have some relatives there, you could have past experience or prior studies, etc. And just take a look at Manitoba. Sometimes for some of you, it might make sense. Now that leaves you basically with two things, the way I look at it. I'm not talking about any other provinces, because they need job offers or they need Lamia job offers, or LMIA kind of a thing. So nothing much to talk about, because if you have an LMIA and a job offer from any of the other provinces, then you wouldn't be joining me and watching this particular video. That leaves you with two things: Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, AIPP, and we'll come to the second one. So AIPP. Now AIPP, as we all know, Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. It's a program which was designed. It's a pilot program, so it's an experimental program. It was designed to encourage people to reside or move towards these 4 Atlantic provinces. The 4 Atlantic provinces are Prince Edward Islands, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and New Brunswick. So, because a lot of people come and live in the main population centers, which is Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, very few people tend to go into these other cities and other provinces. Therefore, pilot program was announced to attract more people into these 4 provinces. And this quota, I think they have about 2,500 annual quota combined for AIPP. This is in addition to their provincial annual quotas. So, but the problem with AIPP, or is the requirement with AIPP, is that you need to have a job offer. And I know one of the most difficult things is to get a job offer. How do you get a job offer? Again, I made another video on how you can get a job from outside Canada. Take a look, maybe it might work for you. You will have to do a research. You'll have to do some research, identify which companies are designated employers. So basically, an employer has to be designated by the province. They have to be registered and designated by the province. Only then can they issue you an offer letter, which will be considered as having qualified for the criteria. So once the employer issues you a job offer after your interviews or whatever, you will need to get it endorsed by the respective province, and then you can use this to apply for your PR application. Identifying an employer is obviously the most difficult bit. The second bit is obviously applying to these identified employers and then getting a job offer. All these 4 provinces have already announced and published the list of designated employers on their website. So you could either find it on their own website, on these province websites, or you can find it in a lot of other areas as well. So once you've identified these employers, you need to get in touch with these employers and see if they have open vacancies that can absorb you or you could apply to. There have been some people who've asked me, can I give them contact details of these companies? I am not a phone directory, guys. I do not have contact details of thousands of companies that are considered as designated employers. We have been able to find some of our clients' job offers at Atlantic Immigration, for AIPP. That's a different thing, because you were able to identify, because a lot of times a lot of employers would approach our company, they would speak to our licensed consultants and have them process their documentation. So we were in touch with some employers and we were able to get some of our clients these job offers. Obviously we can't get everybody because it's practically not possible. But yes, I can't share the contact details with you, but you are most welcome to sort of search for them. Once you've identified the employer, it's not very difficult to find their contact details. You will just need to do a bit more research. I would then suggest to connect with respective employees or department heads of those companies on LinkedIn, on similar peer-to-peer networking platforms. Talk to them, speak with them. But if you are always going to approach someone with the expectation of wanting something from them, it makes it difficult. Can you imagine, for example, if I was the HR manager of X company, which was a designated employer, and if you were able to get your hands on or information on my contact details, can you imagine the number of emails and contacts, or messages I would get each day asking me for a job offer or asking me for a job? Would you think that it is going to be possible for me to provide a job offer for everybody? It's not going to happen. And if everybody is going to approach me only asking for a job, how many calls or how many messages am I going to respond to or correspond with? It's not going to happen. Okay? Hone in your networking skills, get better with your networking skills. Find out how you can offer something for a person so that person will see some value in a networking relationship with you. Dig deep, dig into your other areas of influence, your network of influence. Check who your friends and relatives might know in different companies or different provinces. Trust me, sometimes we are looking far, whereas sometimes our own circle of influence might know a lot of these people. So dig deep. Obviously, it's not going to be easy. Guys, I wish it was easy. Because it was easy earlier, that's the reason we have now 109,000 people in the express entry pool, right? Obviously, now it's not that easy anymore. So you will need to sort of dig deep. You will need to identify who these employers are, talk to them, call them. If you can, if you can, okay, get a visit visa, come to Canada, okay, visit Canada. Uh, Canada is not for everyone, okay. There are a lot of people who might not think Canada is for them, who might not be able to accommodate, adjust themselves to Canada. So if you can, get yourself a visit visa to Canada, come to Canada as a visitor, okay, stay in Canada complying with the regulations or terms and conditions that apply as a regular visitor would, as it applies to a regular visitor. You cannot work in Canada as a visitor, but you are absolutely free to search jobs, look for jobs, attend interviews, meet with people, expand your network. Absolutely fine, no issues there. The problem with the employers is that in the past, and I know that because we have some of them as our clients, they have extended job offers to people. And the reason why they have extended job offers is because obviously they are looking for people to come and work for them. Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, this is not some sort of a gimmick or a scam. So they want these people to come and work in their company. But these people who have received the job offer, after they get their PR or after they get their permanent residency in Canada, they leave. They leave and they don't come and work for these employers at all, or they will work for them for a very short period of time. It leaves these employers high and dry. So the entire purpose of this whole program, entire purpose of them having extended the job offer is all lost. So these guys are pretty miffed with people who just want to use them as something they can climb on and come to Canada, and they don't want to be used anymore. So I can understand why they are very reluctant to give job offers like that. So, but if you are here on a visit visa, if you are able to identify these employers, if you are able to meet them, if you are able to put your case in front of them, if you are able to convince them, if they see value in you, if they see that you are probably a good employee or could be a good employee, the chances of you getting a job offer are much better and much higher. Okay, I know there are a lot of agents and consultants out in the big wide world that are giving you these kind of pathways, that we will get you a visit visa and then we will convert it to work permit and we will charge you 20s of thousands or 30s of thousands of dollars and get you all that. Don't fall for scams, okay? Even if you're using an agent or a consultant, first of all, make sure that they are registered with the regulatory authorities. It's a proper regulated lawyer or a regulated consultant, and only then deal with them. And even if you are dealing, make sure everything is on a piece of paper as a written contract. Do not fall into scams where people just sort of promise you all kinds of quick route facilities and trips and think that will happen. It will not happen. The chances are 99% it's a scam, it's a fraud. You will land in Canada probably on a visit visa and then realize you have nowhere to go and you would have paid lakhs and lakhs of rupees or thousands and thousands of dollars. So be wary of all that. Though Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program is a very successful program, it has seen a lot of success, but similarly it is also abused and misused by a lot of agents and consultants who use this as a scapegoat, or rather use this as a reason to charge you a lot of money. So be very careful with who you're dealing with, how you're dealing with, and what you buy into. So that's as far as AIPP is concerned. Excuse me. And finally, what does that leave you with? Again, it leaves you with options of getting job offers elsewhere. So I spoke to you about AIPP. Same applies with employers across Canada. You could get a job offer in Ontario, in Alberta, in Manitoba, in Saskatchewan, in British Columbia, and all these provinces have their own requirements. But the minute you get a job offer with any of these provinces, it tends to sort of make your way a bit easier, because guys, the reason why provincial nominee programs happen is because people, or rather the provinces, are interested in bringing you into their province so that you can reside in their province, so that you can establish your residence in the province, so that you can help into the economy, or rather help build the economy of that particular province. If everybody just gets a nomination and runs away from the province, it defeats the whole purpose, right? So if you get a job offer, it is always seen as an advantage for the province, because the province sees that if you have a job offer, and knowing that getting jobs in Canada can be difficult at times, though the recent political party has mentioned that they have created 1 million jobs in the last 5 years. Well, 1 million jobs is a lot of jobs. considering we are a population of only 37 million in this country. So because getting a job is very difficult and the provinces are aware of that, if you have a job offer, it is always seen as an advantage, and provinces are then able to offer you nomination through a established route that they might have as a different program. Somebody just asked me about Nunavut, and yes, Nunavut also has a provincial nominee program, but oh, is it not? Northern Territories and Nunavut. It has it with, sorry, Nunavut doesn't have a provincial nominee program. What was I thinking? That is the only province that doesn't have a nomination program separate. All the other 12 provinces and territories have one. Yukon and Northern Territories have one. Nunavut, I think, is combined. I have to check on that because we never get any inquiries in Nunavut. But even Yukon and Northwest Territories, they do have their PNP programs, but they are also concentrated on job offers. So if you have a job offer from an employer in those provinces, then you will probably be able to get through in one of these provincial nominee programs. Now, having spoken about job offers, having spoken about visit visa, etc., that leaves us only one more option, and that is French. It's a great language. I can hardly speak if I have to. I mean, I wouldn't be able to survive, or rather save my life if I had to do that. But it's a beautiful language. It sounds very nice, and if you really want this to happen, and if your scores are really not cracking, then do consider French. It's difficult. Again, I keep saying this, it's not going to be easy anymore. This is no longer for 2017. This is no longer the month of May of 2017 where the scores dropped to 413, where Ontario was sending out notifications to anybody and everybody over 400, where everybody, had thought it was just going to be a walk in the park. It is not going to be a walk in the park. It is not going to be easy. It is going to be difficult. So if you really want to make this work, if you really think Canada is for you, if you really think you have nothing much, no other options left, please consider French. Okay, if you add French as your second language, or if you're good at French and if you make French as your first language and English as your second language, lot of doors open up for you. Ontario's French speaker stream opens up for you. Prince Edward Island sort of tends to become a bit more lenient towards accepting your profile. Quebec, which as of right now is not doing much for the time being, but it is expected once they do start processing their applications through Arima portal, they will give you a lot of weight if you have French as your language. So don't forget French as an option. I know it's difficult. There is no two ways about it. It's extremely difficult, and I'm absolutely sure that you are not looking forward to making French as your language of choice, but it is what it is. Nothing much you can do about it, and if you do make French as your second language, you will be able to add substantial number of points in express entry as well, and as I said, some other PNP programs open up. What else have I got? Nothing much. This is just about it. I've just given you different options. Somebody has just messaged saying, what about getting married to somebody who's in Canada? Well, yes, that's always an option, but I'm not going to talk about it because you're talking about federal skilled worker programs, express entry, etc. But yes, if you find a partner of choice who is a Canadian national, who is a Canadian resident, then they may be able to sponsor you under family sponsorship or family class, and you will be able to come to Canada as a permanent resident. Provided it's a genuine marriage, you can absolutely do that. Apart from that, I don't have anything much to add. This is what it is. This is how the scores are. Very scary. Yes, I'm absolutely sure some of you have got absolute shocker out of it. There are a lot of you who are waiting, who are expecting much lower than this. I wasn't. I actually thought it was going to be somewhere in the same range. But this is how it is. Fingers are crossed that the scores will drop sooner than we think. And I hope they reach back to the earlier figures as soon as possible. Let me just quickly go through some questions. I can't take all of them because I'm sure most of them I've already explained and answered while I was talking to you. So I'm just going to quickly see if there are any questions which I may have not spoken about, and then I can take that into consideration. Muhammad Rahil says, is there any data available to see how many people are there above 460. No, I'm sorry. The only data that is published for CRS ranges is for CIC in the pool breakdown. They have published until 450 for every 10 range between, I mean, from 400 to 450. Above 450, they have just given it as a 50 range. So I'm sorry, not available. But 460 is a pretty good score. If not one or two draws, I think by the next draw that should happen. Okay, somebody is asking, is express entry going to stop after 2020? Okay, while we are on this subject, let me quickly clarify this. Guys, everybody is thinking that 2020, for some reason, I don't know where did this 2020 come from. The first time multi-year or multi-year targets were announced was last year, whereby the targets were announced for 2018, 2019 and 2020. That was done by the immigration minister, and I guess maybe that's where it is coming out from. But you see, earlier each year they would announce the immigration targets for each year in the month of November, October and November, into the parliament, and then in 2018 they instead decided to announce it for 3 years or coming future 3 years. So in 2017 they announced for 18, 19 and 20. Last year, which was 2018, they announced for 2019, 20 and 21. So that is already been announced, and I'm sure this year, 2019, they will announce for 20, 21 and 22. So immigration as such, which has been formulated and formalized since 1970, is not going to stop. Immigration cannot stop. Canada will have negative growth in few years if they stop immigration. So immigration cannot stop. Express entry, now and a lot of people say express entry will stop. Why would express entry stop? I mean, what makes you think, where is the rumor, where is this myth coming from that express entry would stop? Okay, people are linking it to the elections, forthcoming elections in Canada in October. Let me just clarify something on that. You see that the previous government was conservative government in Canada, and they were also in the favor of immigration, and they were processing the applications. Earlier, all these applications which were being processed were manual. It was a paper application. It would take 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, and in some very weird cases up to 4 years for the application to get processed. So for quite some time, the authorities or the people in the power were looking to make it more easier, feasible, and therefore faster for everybody, and hence express entry system was designed. Express entry system did not get designed overnight. Obviously, it took quite a lot of time, and so this actually system was being designed since 2012, approximately. I don't remember exact data on that. I don't have the exact data on that, but somewhere in 2012. So it was in the previous government, when conservatives were in power, right? It took them almost 2 years to sort of identify the factors and fine-tune everything. So by 2014, everything was confirmed, decided. So everybody who had applied towards the end of 2014, their applications were returned back and they were told to reapply in express entry, which was launched finally in 2015. Only after that did the Liberals or the current government came into power. So it's not, express entry is not the idea, or has not been designed or made or implemented by the current Liberal government. It was already there by the previous government, right? So please do not link express entry with the elections. It won't work like that. Over the period of the last few years, express entry system has become more robust. There are a lot of changes made. There are a lot of changes being made every few months. It has matured. It has evolved, and people who work on this system, and I'm talking on the back end, they have become more used to it. They have become more knowledgeable. They have become more informed about how and what they can do with the system. And I'm sure that in future they are already looking at making lots of changes and making it more user friendly, making their interface, which is more user friendly, so that it can give you more and better updates. I know they introduced that silly 6 months marker which shows how many months are remaining for your process, which is very, very silly gimmick. But these are some of the kind of changes that they're doing all the time. Biometrics was introduced, so the biometrics had to be implemented in the express entry system as well, or their update. So these changes will always continue to happen. Elections or the new government will have no implication as far as the system is concerned. So please dispel that fear that immigration is going to stop after 2020 or express entry will stop after 2020. It won't happen. The three main political parties of Canada, all of them are in favor of immigration, and nowhere have they said we do not want immigration, or we want to stop immigration, or immigration cannot happen, or people cannot come in. There might be changes, yes. You see, each government will bring with them different ideologies, will bring with them different mindsets, will bring with them different ways of doing things. Yes, so changes are expected. Those could be good and bad. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But the thing is that if the scores are going to be as high as 450, 460, 470, things are already difficult. Things are already, not in everybody's grasp. So what more are you expecting for it to become bad? We expect that they're going to give more weightage or more weight to people who are already in Canada, people who have Canadian work experience, Canadian education. Already there are additional points for these factors, but we expect that because there are nearly 500,000 international students who come to Canada, that this number or this weight on for these people to convert as PR, this might be increased. We also expect that there might be some NOC based draws in the future. We do not know when. In the future, it could be 6 months, could be 1 year, could be 2 years from now. I do not know. It's very speculative. That as of now, the factors are established. Master's degree, CLB 9, age below 30 means you will have very high score with 3 years of work experience, and you will definitely get your ITA. But that does not mean that people who do not have these criteria are not qualified, are not experienced, or cannot add value to Canada. So there is a lots and lots of chatter, lots and lots of discussions, lots and lots of opinions and views exchanged, whereby the government has been suggested to the people in the government that they have to figure a different way of picking people who might not have those kind of high scores but are still excellent in what they do and could be value to Canada. And they were then prompted that that's the reason you have provincial nominee programs, so that they can utilize those programs and utilize the labor market impact on different provinces and use that as a route to come to Canada. But you never know. We expect that in the federal on the federal level as well, that there might be a change and certain and they might start picking NOCs specifically. There is also a lot of talk that it could become nationality based quotas, because they want to create a demographic they do not want a demographic imbalance, and in the future, there is nothing happening nearby. I mean, in the near future, there could be some sort of a nationality level quota as well, so that it restricts number of people from certain countries. But I am a bit doubtful on that. The reason for that is because Canada has a very, very fair and an impartial policy, right? They're not partial to any particular segment, sect, religion, culture, country as such. And that's what makes Canada such a wonderful country to be in, and because they have that kind of a mindset, coming in with a quota system which restricts people from certain background because of their nationality or anything else, might be very difficult to implement. I'm not sure Supreme Court is going to be in that favor, but things can happen. A lot of things can change. Apart from that, what else have we got? We are also looking at that's just more or less about it. Elections will not stop immigration program. As I said, the new government might want to sort of either make it easier, faster, better, or could make it a bit more difficult, or could fine-tune certain factors. But apart from that, please let go of these fears of elections. Please let go of these fears of this express entry getting stopped, or immigration getting stopped. Wow, I have gone more than an hour that I thought I would. Guys, unfortunately, I have some appointments. I have certain people who are waiting for me to connect on the call with them, because I do take discussions online, and there are a couple of clients who are waiting for me to sort of get out there and discuss their process with them. I'm sorry, I can't take this anymore, but we will do more of these question and answer. This is not a question and answer at all. I'm sorry about that, but I promise you that probably next week. Actually, next week in Toronto, if you are in Toronto or in the GTA region, then join our Facebook group. In the Facebook group, I have posted an event whereby if you're in Toronto, we can have a live one-on-one, not one-on-one, of course, in the group, we can do a live question and answer, so that if you're in Toronto on a temporary resident status, visitor, worker, student, and you're applying for your permanent residence application, then, and if you have questions, you're most welcome to come on, join in, and then we'll be able to discuss what you have, what your queries are, and what your concerns are. That's just about it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming in and listening to me talk, yip yap. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. It helps me gather more numbers and sort of send out my messages to more people. It is also very motivating, because if I'm making a video and nobody's watching, then what's the point of doing that, right? So please, thank you for your support. Thank you for everything that you do on our groups. Our Facebook group was quite popular. A lot of our members are out there who are exchanging their discussion, who are exchanging their views, their opinions, their questions, and they're very, very helpful. So a lot of you can please come back to our Facebook group, post your queries there, post your questions there. Myself, our wonderful team of moderators who also help govern the groups or manage the groups, and our beautiful members, they will all be very happy to help you. And until then, from my side, I think it's going to be bye-bye, adios, and I shall see you later. Bye-bye.